on this controversial episode of MythBusters. It's all-out war. Today is the day the battle of the sexes will be won.
Go ladies! Go ladies!
By testing 5 age-old, gender-based cliches. First up, the #1 cause of heated marital discourse. Women can't drive.
I can tell from the way they're driving that it's probably a woman.
Next!
Burn, baby, burn. Are men the master chefs?
Well, that's just raw.
Who's better at reading emotions?
Is flirty an emotion?
Is map reading more suited to the minds of men?
Straight, but, okay, we have to stop somewhere. Stop.
And back in the car, is it a man's world?
You forgot the baby? The baby? That's not gonna fare well for the eggs.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
We're gonna have an adventure.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Together with Tori Belleci.
I love a challenge.
Brent Imahara.
Nothing just touch me!
And Carrie Byron.
Let's do it.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Okay, come on.
Do we really have to do this?
Yes.
Why exactly?
Because we're doing an entire episode on men versus women. A battle of the sexes. A battle we're winning.
Hold on, you're already winning?
Yeah, last season when we did men versus women for pain tolerance, we kicked your butts.
Okay, if you say so.
Since it is a competition.
We're gonna be testing all sorts of cliches, like navigating is best done by
Men,
driving,
men,
grilling,
men.
arrogance. Ha!
All right, well, before we get started, let's see if we can put some science into this.
Something we're also very good at.
It's a fact that there are a few physiological differences between male and female brains that may lead to advantages on certain types of tasks. For example, the circuitry for spatial awareness is marginally faster in men, and women have slightly larger language centers. But in the real-world gender wars, do these neurological subtleties lead to actual advantages? Well, there's only one way to find out. In a pitched battle of the sexes, the team is going to test all 5 of them. And kicking off the most controversial episode in MythBuster history is a doozy.
We don't have to arm wrestle for this one, do we?
Luckily, no. So, for us, what's first?
Well, it's driving. Men or women, who's better?
I can already hear people yelling at their televisions right now. How do you want to test it?
Well, I think it's pretty straightforward. We get 10 men, 10 women, a licensed driving instructor, and put them on an EVOC course and see who's better.
All right, and to eliminate bias, we should make sure that the driving instructor does not know the gender of the person he's testing at any given moment.
Sounds like a good idea.
All right, let's bring on the controversy.
It's a controversy as old as the automobile itself. Supposedly, women and driving just don't mix. But insurance data suggests that it's men who are the real road risks.
How am I doing? A lot better than yesterday.
So, which is the wheel deal?
Well, we're back here at our favorite driving course, the EVOC at the Alameda County Sheriff's Department. Just waiting for Adam.
There he is.
Check out my new ride.
Nice.
Ready to get testing?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So what we're going to do here is put an equal number of both male and female drivers through a standard driving course and see if we can tell which sex is better at driving. It's very simple.
Hey!
The concept may be simple, but as Jamie learns with instructor Jack Sage, the course is anything but.
This is a bird's eye view of the police training course our test subjects will be tested upon. And let me delineate for you the key components. We have accident avoidance.
This one's tricky.
K-turns. Close quarter turnarounds.
There's no rush on this one.
Parallel parking.
Everybody's favorite exercise.
Up to speed and a quick stop. then the forward slalom, and the kicker, the reverse slalom. Throughout the course, Jack will be scoring the drivers. They all start with 100 points, but every time they hit a cone, break the speed limit, hesitate, or fail to follow directions, they're gonna get penalized. And then they're done.
And with that, it's time to meet the volunteers who'll be flying the flag for their entire gender.
Hi, everybody. Hello. Thanks for coming to the MythBusters driving school.
And after getting a rundown of the rule book,
You have 7 minutes to complete this test. The course speed limit is 25 miles per hour.
they're in for a surprise.
Most importantly, it is vital that your identity and your gender are invisible to our driving instructor. Now, in order to assist the invisibility of your gender, you'll each be wearing this heavy yellow fire suit. You'll also be wearing a balaclava that covers your head and some mirrored ski goggles. You'll be wearing gloves in case some ladies have painted fingernails. And finally, the gentlemen out there will be wearing a pair of fake breasts. Now, if you have a problem with doing this, remember that nobody will be able to recognize you in all of the other stuff that you're wearing, so your identity will remain completely a secret. Is everybody ready? Yes. Okay, great.
It may seem odd that we're making people wear balaclavas and the men wear these things, but this is why we're doing it. In theory, Inspector Jack could be affected by people's gender and mark them differently. So by making them look all the same and not letting them talk, we're removing any chance of bias. Plus, it's funny.
But before contestant number 1 drives away, Adam adds one more ingredient.
Don't forget to buckle up.
There's a metric we're interested in getting during these driving tests. And most people, if you ask them, would tell you that they think men break the speed limit more than women. They drive faster. Are men gonna break the speed limit on our course when we've told them all clearly that the speed limit's 25 miles an hour? This little black box is going to tell us. Inside it is a piece of proprietary hardware. If anybody breaks the speed limit of 25 miles an hour during their test, we're gonna know about it.
With the black box in place and some convenient rain to make things that little bit harder, cue volunteer number 1.
3, 2, 1,
Go.
You're gonna go to the green light.
First up is accident avoidance.
That seemed to go fairly smoothly.
Then it's on to the close quarter turns, where a nudged cone breaks Adam's self-restraint.
Now, our driving instructor, Jack, has no idea of the gender of this driver, but I can tell from the way they're driving that it's probably a woman. I'm totally kidding. I have no idea. What it is a woman. Okay, I'm really sorry, because I didn't know it was a woman when I said that. I was just making a terrible joke. She seems to be doing just fine.
Actually, she's doing better than fine, because she sails through the rest of the course.
This might be the hardest part of the test. The reverse slalom.
Without any more mistakes. And while she did break the speed limit, hitting 27 miles an hour, she comes away with a score of 88.
and finish.
Volunteer number 2 is a man.
3, 2, 1, go.
Not that you'd know it.
I think my disguise is working because that was a guy, and I really couldn't tell.
And like his female counterpart, he breezes through the course.
Looks like a good parallel park.
With speed,
Oh, slow down there, cowboy.
his only penalty.
Right on the money.
Volunteer 3 is also a man.
Go.
And despite a good start on the accident avoidance test,
Nice one.
it's not long before things start to go belly up.
Oh, that didn't look good.
It's worth noting that this guy's not a novice driver. We've selected them based on a couple of criteria. The first is that they have to have had more than 5 years of driving experience. The second one is that they can't be pros. We're looking for the average Joe. But this guy, he's just a bad driver.
Ain't that the truth? After knocking over a cornucopia of cones and reaching a speed of 29 miles per hour, this guy scrapes in with a score of 54.
1, go.
And when the next woman scores an impressive 82,
Threaded the needle.
in this first battle of the sexes, the men have their backs to the wall.
As a scientist, of course I want good data, but as a man right now, I'm a little disappointed in my gender's performance. but there's still a lot more testing to go.
The MythBusters are tackling 5 of the most contentious conflicts in the history of the Battle of the Sexes. And first up for Carrie, Grant, and Tori, it's all in the eyes.
So we are testing the myth that women are better at reading people's emotions than men.
Oh, this one's definitely true.
I think I'm pretty good at it.
Well, there is a standard way to test this. You take photos of people with emotions and then show people just the eyes and see if they can tell which emotion that person has emitted, like anger, happiness, sadness, fear.
Perfect. Let's take pictures of all 5 MythBuster hosts making different emotive faces. Block out everything but the eyes and see who can tell what's going on better, men or women. Now, for this, we've got this photo booth here. All 5 MythBusters are gonna jump in here and channel 5 emotions.
Okay, here we go. Happy. French bulldog puppies licking my face.
Happiness, sadness, anger, fear, confusion.
All right, confused look. Huh? How do you work this thing?
He's gonna wait. Now it says 5, 4, 3,
I'm
2,
joking.
1.
I'm getting a character. And it was so good, I confused the cameraman.
Now we're going to take those pictures and cut off just the eyes. Put those in front of men and women and see if they can figure out what emotion that we're trying to channel.
Unfortunately, there's an issue with one of the hosts.
Apparently, I'm supposed to express a bunch of emotions. Happy. Unfortunately, what you see is what you get. Sad. I mean, I can distort my face in some kind of mimicry of what I understand is that emotion. Confused. That's about the best I can do. Afraid.
Jamie clearly needs to upgrade his human emotion firmware.
So, unfortunately, because these are all the same, we're gonna have to throw them out.
So the team has the 5 emotional photos of the 4 human hosts. What next?
We'll bring in our volunteers one by one, project the pictures on our screen, and see who's better at reading emotions, men or women.
Cue the first male test subject. And after Grant explains the setup, it's down to business.
Okay, here's the first slide.
Looks like he's kind of anxious.
John answered anxious. Correct answer here?
Oh, whoops.
Not a great start, but he does get a few correct.
Fear.
Fear.
And ends up with a reasonable score.
Out of a total possible 17 emotions, you got 11. That's pretty good.
We won't know how good until we have a comparison. Cue the first female.
Happy?
Correct.
And from the get-go, it's clear her answers are faster,
Scared?
more instinctive,
Confused?
and more assured.
Angry?
Yeah.
Sad?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Go ladies. Go ladies.
However, she does get 4 answers incorrect. So it's not a complete wash for the guys.
13 points.
13. That's really, really good.
What we do know is we started strong, and the next few subjects record lower scores.
You have a score of 8 points.
It's clearly a tough test.
6, I got 5.
But as the data is gathered,
You got a score of 10 points. Well done.
one trend continues. The response time for the women is markedly quicker.
Happy.
Correct.
Happy.
Confused.
Wow, she's quick. She's quick to judge.
The women have been very quick to look at the picture and come up with an answer right away, whereas the men, in general, have had a longer pause between answering.
Anger.
Yes!
Very good.
Nice work.
The other recurring theme is the misreading of 2 specific slides.
So this is Carrie's angry look. Now, this slide in particular is one that almost every volunteer has gotten wrong.
Happy.
Actually, it's anger.
They look like bedroom eyes.
They guess one of 2 things, either happy or sexy. Sexy.
What? Really?
The other slide being misread is Grant's angry eyes,
Oh, it looks like a come hither look.
which seems to have some sort of strange effect on the female subjects.
Well, I was gonna say sexy, but I don't think that's what you want.
I don't know. Is flirty an emotion?
What? Is blushing an emotion? I don't know.
Mixed signals aside,
Sad.
as the final few test subjects deliver their emotional verdicts, the main pattern emerging is that not only are the women faster, They're also more accurate.
You got a 13.
I'm very impressed.
While the team completes the sample, let's see how you guys and girls do at home. You'll have a few seconds to name that emotion. Ready? Here goes. Did you get anger? Next is Carrie. A happy, smiling Carrie. Who's winning at home, the men or women? Brett was also happy. And Tori, what's Tori saying with his eyes? Sad is the correct answer. And last, yeah, okay, we cheated. No one can read the Heinemann. But what about the scientific theory behind why the results are favoring the women? It turns out women do, in fact, have proportionally larger language and emotional memory centers. And so, on average, they can read emotional body language faster and more accurately.
All right, Carrie, this is it. The end of our final experiment. What are the results?
Okay, so taking the average of the men, we come up with a score of 9.6.
All right, pretty good score for the men.
And the average for the women is 10.6.
Wow, so it looks like this is confirmed. Women are better at reading emotions than men.
Now, I feel like I've always known that, but I thought these scores would be a lot further apart.
Yeah, not a landslide, but still confirmed.
Confirmed.
That's cool.
So it's first blood to the women. But with 4 myths still in the balance, it's all to play for. Is it really true that men make for better drivers than women?
Look out for the truck! What truck? Behind the bus! What bus?
Well, not if the second secret mail was anything to go by.
Oh, that didn't look good.
But 6 tests later,
Go. Go.
Go.
and it's all changed because 3 women have struggled while 3 men have passed with flying colors. Meaning the average scores are now 80 for the guys and 70 for the gals.
And we're finished.
So far, we are halfway through our test subjects, and I've got to admit, the numbers looking like the men are winning in this contest, and not by a thin margin either. We still have a bunch of test subjects to go, so the final answer is still yet to come.
So far, our testing's showing that men are slightly better than women, but what about other studies?
There's actually been surprisingly few studies directly comparing the driving ability to men and women. But we do have some interesting data to look at, and that is insurance claims.
What do they reveal?
Well, they reveal that men do tend to get in more serious accidents, but in pure accident numbers, men and women get into the same number of accidents.
Well, do you think more men die because they're driving faster?
That could be. That's exactly why we've added speed as one of the metrics we're looking at in this test.
Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, there's a lever down there for the parking brake right below the dash. Just kind of pull it. There you go.
Not a good sign when you leave the parking brake on.
The rest of the afternoon speeds by in a blur of swerves, squeals,
Just from the sound of the acceleration there, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's a dude.
twists, and turns.
Last contestant was a little vigorous.
And what's surprising is the speed data.
Now we're on our last contestant. Before we crunch all the numbers, we have in fact teased out an interesting fact. You may or may not ascribe to the belief that men break the speed limit more than women. And that's why we actually set a speed limit of 25 miles an hour on this course, to try and ferret out whether or not that was true. What we found is that 7 out of 9 of our male drivers have gone over 25 miles an hour. But 9 out of 10 of our female drivers have done the same. Thus, even if this guy behind me goes over 25 miles an hour, the idea that men break the speed limit more than women is busted.
It's a confounding result that's made more surprising when guy 10 stays under the limit.
And they're finished.
But what about the overall score results? Well, after some quick number crunching, the data is in.
All right, dude, I'm dying to know. What is the final tally that our numbers give us? Are men better drivers than women?
Well, for a while there, the men had a really strong lead, but by the end of the test, the women started to catch up. They still didn't make it though, and the men won fair and square by about 8%.
I did not expect to get such a clear result. Wow. Well, shall we head back home and start answering the angry emails now?
What are you gonna do?
Controversial or not, the scoreboard tells the tale. It's now all square. Up next, the competition is about to heat up.
This one's gonna be controversial. Who's better at grilling, men or women?
Well, in this country at least, there is absolutely a cultural bias that an outdoor grill is a man's domain.
On the other hand, at least at home, the stereotype is that women do most of the cooking, and it makes sense that that experience would translate to the grill.
Well, sounds like we got to test it.
Perfect.
Since the proverbial caveman first rubbed two sticks together, men have perceived fire as their domain. But are they actually better at cooking on it? Or is it another in a long list of self-delusions? To find out, as our Australian friends would say, it's time to fire up the body.
This is our grill lab. We've got 4 identical cooking stations, 10 men, 10 women, and they'll each be given 1 hour to do the best job they can at grilling.
Each will be given the exact same number of ingredients and asked to grill 4 separate things. Vegetables, a chicken drumstick, a hamburger medium rare, and a steak medium rare.
The grilling will be assessed by a panel of judges. Now, this is a blind test, which means that the judges will not know the gender of the people that are preparing the food that they're tasting.
Every piece of food we taste will be assessed on 3 basic criteria: presentation, texture, and most importantly, taste. Shall we start?
Let's bring it on.
Awesome.
And the starting point is a control.
Give it a nice little color finish.
Barbecue Hall of Famer and guest judge Rick Gilbert prepares the 4-item menu in order to give Adam and Jamie a perfect benchmark in presentation, texture, and taste.
One thing people commonly do with burgers is they will take them, flip them over, and give them that little
Oh,
squish.
yeah.
I want to do that. It just moves the juices right out of the burger and out of your mouth. It never hits it, so not worth it.
But aside from general tips on great grilling, there are a few hard and fast rules.
Some things about grilling are subjective, like appearance or seasoning, but there is one big area of don't, and that's over or under cooking. With all types of food that you put on the grill, if you overcook them, they're going to be dried out and flavorless. If you undercook them, they're going to be raw. In the case of chicken, raw means you simply can't eat it.
So those are the key targets: juicy, medium rare burgers and steaks.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a perfect medium rare there.
And safely cooked chicken.
Wow, that was really good.
The rest is down to the subjective assessment of our judges in the 3 categories of presentation, texture, and taste.
Nice.
Crispy on the outside. It's perfectly medium rare.
Which means it's time to get grilling. Cue our first set of willing lab rats. Organized into random groups of 4, they'll cook for their allotted hour. The judges will then be presented with 4 dishes: mixed vegetables, chicken, steak, and a burger, without knowing the sex of the chef. But Jamie thinks the men will come out on top.
It kind of makes sense that men would be into grilling. It involves fire, big slabs of meat. It's primal.
Let's find out. It's time to get to eating and judging.
Alrighty, contestant number 1.
I would call that well done.
Yeah.
The panel tuck in and assess each dish.
Texture's not bad.
Their comprehensive system scores each of the 4 dishes in the 3 categories with a maximum score of 100.
I'd say that's a good steak.
That's large and in charge.
Absolutely.
And our first male test subject racks up a solid 51.3. A mark our first female chef fails to match.
That's like the burger I used to fear that my mom would make.
A little bit dry?
It's a little bit dry.
However, the advantage doesn't last because the next guy severely compromises his score by failing one of the 4 dishes completely.
Oh, dudes, I think we might have our first 0 in a meat category. That's rare.
I'm gonna pass.
This here is 4 burgers, each of them burnt crispy on the outside and totally red raw on the inside. We can't even eat these. It's an automatic 0. Sorry.
I'd eat it.
Next! with the next female chef serving up the perfect burger.
Look at that. It's a perfect color, a little juice in there.
She nails an impressive and so far top scoring 62.4. And it's game on.
Next!
As Adam, Jamie, and Rick chow down and churn out the scores, several things become clear.
That is a darn tasty burger.
Somebody put some time and love into that burger.
First, the quality of the dishes delivered to the judging table varies hugely.
This is a terrible thing to do to a steak. Look at that. That is just raw on the inside there.
Second, our test subjects freely acknowledge the basis for the myth. Men do seem to grill more often.
Certainly for me, my friends and my family, the men do more outdoor cooking than the women do.
Yeah, I grill a lot, but I would say that my boyfriend grills better than me. He cooks it more often, and he gets the meat done more precise than I do.
Third, as the final meals are tasted and judged,
Dude, that's not even questionable. That's just raw.
that additional grill experience the men have is not reflected in the scores.
This person doesn't seem to have cooked before.
Burger for burger,
This is like a hamburger cooked by a vegetarian right here.
steak for steak,
That is an example of what a good steak is.
the women are matching the men.
That was delicious. You want to try some? Oh, you can't. We're on TV. Sorry.
Rick, thanks so much for your help.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
And with that, the last score is tallied and totaled, and it's results time.
Pretty tasty.
Some of it was, some of it I might not feed to my dog.
Oh, what do you think of the numbers?
Well, the best score was had by men, but then so was the lowest score.
Right, women came in with an average score of 42, men with an average of 46. That is mighty close.
It's close enough to mean that there wasn't a statistical difference.
Which means, of course, that the myth that men are definitely better than women at grilling is totally busted.
Based on this test, it's busted.
Yep.
So a fire may well bring out the primeval urge in men, but they're no better than women when it comes to cooking on it. Next up for Carrie, Grant, and Tori is the fight of the navigators.
Okay, next myth. Men are better at navigating than women.
What? I'm a great navigator.
All right, well, apparently there's enough controversy that we need to test this myth. What if we set up a scenario as if we are chauffeurs? We give a group of men and a group of women a map, and they have to take us from point A to point B.
And we score them on who takes the shortest path, but penalize them for lengthy stops, wrong turns, or give panicky directions.
Ooh, I like it.
To find out if men make for better map readers, the guys hit the road in style.
I'm pretty sure I have no idea where we're at.
Before cruising down to the coast, the start point for their map mayhem.
Nice location, huh?
Yep. The ideal starting point.
We're about to start our experiment to find out if the myth is true that men are better navigators than women. So this is the plan. We have 20 volunteers, 10 men, 10 women. We are arming them only with a map with our beginning and end points marked out.
Here's your map. Here's your map.
Now, they are going to be in the passenger seat, and Grant's going to be driving.
Okay, approaching Francisco Boulevard, making a right turn.
They're going to have to navigate us from start to finish completely with the map. No smartphones, no GPS, and Tori and I will be in the back seat with a scorecard. Now, we're going to penalize them for panicky directions, unnecessary turns.
Okay, executed the U-turn.
Stopping for no reason. And we're also going to penalize them for every half mile over the minimum distance it takes to get from point A to point B. That's been calculated about 8 miles, so this should be sort of a tricky test. I'm looking forward to seeing the results.
Indeed. And in addition to our volunteers being completely unfamiliar with the area, the test is going to be a tough one, as the chosen point B is decidedly difficult to find.
Now, most of the time, when you go on a road trip with your buddies, you're going somewhere fun, but not on MythBusters. Here, we go to the water treatment plant. Now, we're nostalgic, yes, because we dropped Buster here. But more importantly, it's hard to find on a map. Not many people know where it is. It's almost exactly 8 miles from our start point in Pacifica, and there are many different ways to get here.
Remember, the challenge is to get from A to B via the most direct route. But with dozens of other potential plots and a dastardly one-way system to boot, there's a lot that could go wrong. So with driver and scorers sitting pretty, let the battle commence. And first up is Angelina.
This is where we are.
Oh my God, okay.
This is where we're going.
Oh wow. Oh my God.
Like all contestants, she's allowed to study the map for 5 minutes
Okay. The water's there.
before the test begins.
I think we should just make a left somewhere.
All right.
First possible left. Let's go.
Okay.
And like all contestants, she starts with a score of 100 that'll be reduced for every mistake.
Is this a harder map than usual, or this is a normal map? Wait, why didn't you get on the freeway?
And it's not long before those mistakes, as the myth would suggest, start to mount up.
Straight. Okay, we're playing. Straight, but okay, keep going. Stay in this line.
Stay in this line.
Oh, it should be 280 to 380. Is there a 280 to 380?
With last-minute directions and a general sense of hopelessness,
Well, this is one way to get to point B.
Angelina does the only sensible thing.
We have to stop somewhere. Stop.
Stopping. Stopping.
She pulls over to try to get her bearings.
Roger there.
And 10 minutes later, she thinks she's found them.
Northfield Road. Was that Northfield Road? Oh, we're right here. Oh my God. Oh no, it's before North. We have to go back.
We have to go back. Okay, executing a U-turn.
After the stop and the U-turn, her score has already dropped to 75.
I'm rooting for you.
I can do it. I know it because I'm so close.
But it drops further on stop 2.
So this is the part. Okay, stop.
Stopping.
I don't know.
And further again on U-turn 2. And by stop 3,
Stop.
Okay. Stop.
it's fair to say that this isn't going well.
She seems a little stressed out right now.
But after another 5-minute pause, Angelina finally gets back on track.
Oh my God, this is not looking good for the women.
And while she tries to up her score by using her feminine charms,
So you've been driving for a while?
Yes.
Because you look very young, you know.
Oh, I like this.
it's clear that data point 1 is great news for men.
Okay, Angelina, we made it! You did it in 11.8 miles.
So after deductions for stopping to read the map 3 times, 3 unnecessary turns, and 1 panicky direction, minus 5 points for every half mile over the minimum,
Okay.
you got a total score of 25.
But wait, did he drive well while I was doing? Because you.
Oh, so you're gonna blame him?
25 out of a possible 100 is not the start the ladies wanted. Can man number 1 do any better?
All right, get in. Here's your map.
Well, in a word, no. Because Chris
Say we go straight.
somehow contrives to map read less well than Angelina. Not only does he stop once and U-turn twice, but he also gets told to back off by a security guard.
So you can't stop here.
Okay. Do you know where the sewage treatment plant is?
No, I'm sorry. Please move along.
In that case, I think we can probably bust a U-turn.
Okay, very good.
But what's really killing Chris's score is his mileage.
I think we're lost, Carrie.
I think you're right. I've never been here before.
We may never get home. Ever.
Because by the time he finally crosses the finish line,
Congratulations, Chris, you made it!
he's traveled a staggering 13.9 miles, 75% further than the shortest route.
So Chris just finished up, and he came away with a whopping 20 points. 20 points! I think he was more concerned about his hair than he was getting to the final destination.
It's a dismal start for either sex, but with 18 volunteers still to go, the result is a long way off. Get set for all-out war, because this next battle of the sexes is controversial for sure.
What's next?
Packing the car.
You mean like to ship it?
No, for a road trip. You ever take a road trip?
No.
Okay, well, suffice to say, there's a myth out there that when packing for a road trip, men are better at it than women. And I think all we need to do is prepare for a virtual road trip with just slightly more luggage than can fit in your average car and ask a bunch of men and a bunch of women to pack it in and see who wins.
Okay, if you say so.
It's a classic gender-based cliche as old as vacations themselves. Supposedly, as far as loading the luggage goes, it's a man's world. But is it really?
Today, it is all about spatial awareness. Whether men or women can pack the car more efficiently than the other sex. This is one of our test platforms. That is our other one.
Are we going to get started or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
To do it, they first need the luggage, a complex 28-piece set that Adam and Jamie test load to make sure it all fits.
Got a delicate picture here.
As well as the bulky items, the packers will have to secure several fragile items, like eggs, a cake, and cream pie, as well as ensuring the comfort of the doll, playing the part of a real baby and 3 adults. And then
we'll drive through a predetermined course and see whether there are any problems like packages sliding around or things breaking.
With the driving course ready at a packing area built for 2.
Because this is a contest, we don't want to allow anybody to observe anybody else and sort of cheat. So that's what the screen is about.
Next, we need a scoring system.
May I present our judges, Miss Carrie Elizabeth Byron and Mr. James Franklin Heineman. If you two would sequester yourselves, we'll start the first test.
Jamie and I are the judges. We will be scoring out of 100 points. There will be deductions for the quality of our pack, depending on the packing of the car, the volume of the items in there, the neatness and efficiency of the pack, comfort of the passengers. Adam will do a quick driving test to see how things shift around. And finally, there's some delicate items in the pack, eggs, pies. Will these things be crushed?
And as judges, we're not going to see any of the contestants either before, during, or after the test. So we're not biased.
Cue the first pair of the 20 test subjects, Rachel and Jeff. And after they're given a rules rundown, we're ready to roll.
Packing a car in 3, 2, 1, go.
They're off and running.
This is already really cool.
Rachel is opting for speed, while Jeff appears to be more methodical in his technique.
Fascinating bit of psychology.
And it's a big load for a small car. Will either method pay dividends?
Guys have just about 3 minutes left.
Well, Rachel certainly finishes well inside the allotted 15 minutes.
Then.
As does Jeff, and they both manage to squeeze in every item.
That was very, very exciting.
But let's see what the judges have to say. First up, Rachel's red car attempt, and it's not looking great.
This person actually fit everything in there, but it's hard to imagine doing a cruder or sloppier job of doing that.
Despite being her family's designated packer, even before the drive test, it's clear Rachel's handling of the delicate items, like the baby, was a bit of a disaster.
You gotta be kidding. I can hardly tell which end of the kit is up.
Comfort test.
And finally, Carrie carries out the comfort test.
Okay, that's not very cool. No elbow room, knees hitting here. Luckily, I'm small.
The judges are clearly not impressed, and her score so far is mediocre at best.
Oh, going on a road trip.
Let's see how the luggage and passengers survive the drive, both in terms of comfort and breakages. Adam puts the car and its precariously packed load through its paces.
Well, I think that went rather better than I imagined it might.
And after the MythBuster family arrives at their vacation destination, surprisingly,
the eggs are all intact.
The eggs and cake are intact. However, the baby didn't make it.
Can you believe that you have to specify that that's a delicate item?
Rachel did not get the women off to a good start. Jeff, on the other hand, has done the men proud.
Well, they got the pictures in where they wouldn't get damaged.
He scored well on time, efficiency, and comfort. And after the drive test, all of the fragile items survived.
Let's see how the cakes did.
Ooh, not bad, not bad.
The boys are clearly one-up. And so far, the myth's destination appears to be Confirmedville. In map-reading mayhem, the first female navigator lost her marbles as well as her bearings.
Stop.
We actually had to stop on the side of the road 3 times. She had no idea where we were going. We were totally lost. It was so much fun.
But the first male did even worse.
I mean, he was taking us through neighborhoods. We were driving down side streets. I actually pulled the map out to see where he was going. I have no idea where we're at. Turns out when we were done, he went way over the 8-mile limit that we were allowed.
So after round 1, it seems that the two sexes are equal. But back at the start line, what does the science say?
Men have bigger brain and bigger frontal lobe, which is responsible for decision making, spatial navigation, and problem solving. But really, it's anyone's game. It's going to be really interesting to find out who's a better map reader, men or women.
So cue contestant number 3, Jen.
Hi, are you Jen?
Yes.
You ready to navigate for science?
Yes.
Get in. Here's your map.
Jen studies the map. Grant resets the odometer, and then they all hit the road.
Okay, Jen, what's my first direction?
Go out and make a left.
This time, there's a major difference. Not only does she give clear instructions,
Left on 2.
I believe it's gate.
but she also gets all the way to the finish line without a single stop or wrong turn.
Congratulations, Jen. You made it to the water quality control plant.
However, Jen doesn't get a perfect score because her choice of route was not the shortest.
You did decide to go the long route. We went 11 miles. That's 3 miles over the allotted 8-mile limit. So you lose 30 points.
Contestant number 4 is Jeff.
Hey there.
Welcome.
And like Jen, he sails through the test with no slip-ups.
Crossing Wakefield.
However, unlike Jen, he also completes the course in the minimum 8 miles.
Jeff, you got us to our location with no mistakes. You didn't panic, and you got us here in 8 miles, which was the allotted distance. You got a perfect score.
Not to be outdone, Sherry steps up for the women.
Jump in.
I'm not ready, but I'm jumping in.
And she too nails a perfect 100.
And we are here. Sherry, we made it. Okay, that's 7.9 miles.
Wow, that's
Sherry,
great.
very well done. You seem calm and collected the entire trip.
And you got a perfect score!
So far, the myth is not playing out as expected. It's neck and neck with 15 navigators still to come.
Everyone, keep your hands and arms inside the vehicle at all times. Here's your map.
And those 15 follow a similar pattern. Some people get horribly lost.
This one, straight. Oh, wait, hold on. Take it.
Others never deviate.
So at least we're not on the freeway.
Some travel great distances.
Oh my God, look at this view. Well, it looks like she decided to take us on the scenic route.
Others keep it to the 8-mile minimum.
Okay, Julie, you made it to the water quality control plant in 8.3 miles.
And while they nearly all blame their deficiencies on modern technology,
The map part of the test was pretty difficult considering I don't use maps anymore. I use my phone for GPS.
at the end of a tiring afternoon,
I don't want to say you look really tired.
That's okay. I am really tired.
the results of all 20 volunteers are in. So, cue the drum roll.
So the results for this myth are that women got a 77-point average and men only got a 74-point average. That means that men are not better map readers than women. We're equals.
Yep, with such a small sample size, the 3-point difference is too close to call, meaning men and women are effectively equal. Moreover, the way people lost points through mistake or distance penalties was also equal across the sexes.
Well, most importantly, this myth is busted. Men are not better map readers than women.
Busted. Nice work. All right, get out of here.
Chauffeur, home.
That's another busted stereotype and another example of gender equality. The result is down to the final test. Is loading up the luggage really best left to the boys? Well, with one pair of test subjects down,
You gotta be kidding.
it's men on top. The first guy easily outscored our first gal.
I'm loving this test.
But one data point a sample does not make.
Back in the car in 3, 2, 1, go!
So the second pair of Packers get busy, and Adam struggles with the basics of reality.
Watching people solve these problems is just fascinating. I keep on thinking, why are they doing it that way? And then I realize, they're not me.
No, And once again, the female test subject seems to be playing to type.
Stop packing.
Judge Jamie is unimpressed.
And that's why the rest of their car was neat, because they simply didn't put it all in.
And by the end of the drive, they had even less than they started with.
Where's the skateboard?
Oh. There it is.
But if girl number 2 was bad, the guy was even worse.
Really? They forgot the baby? The baby?
Not a great start, and his score plummets during the drive test.
Bye, doggy.
Loose items prove to be dangerous, and the fragile items prove to be fragile.
Ooh.
And we're stopped.
That's not gonna fare well for the eggs.
Broken eggs.
Do I count as a delicate item? I'm not okay.
Those series of infractions mean a very low score, and the cumulative average is now neck and neck.
Go!
And so the rest of the day passes. Adam wheels out successive pairs of prospective packers.
And stop. Oh, are you okay?
But the only pattern to really emerge is the lack of one.
It's funny watching these guys and girls pack.
That's where they put the cake?
We got 28 different packages, we got 2 cars, and by my math, about 16 gazillion ways we can arrange them in the cars.
I can't get my seatbelt on.
Oh!
I've seen things that are just egregiously ridiculous in terms of just awful packing. And I've seen some lovely, elegant solutions, the full gamut. It's taken several test subjects, but finally someone has deflated the beach ball in order to get more space. Awesome.
While it's true the quality of the individual male and female performances seesaws back and forth.
Hold on.
Are you okay?
Oh, man. I just whacked myself in the ear with that fishing pole.
Sorry for laughing, but that's funny.
As we approach the last few pairs, there is one pattern finally emerging.
We're home.
The men have their noses in front.
The idea that men have better spatial awareness than women might be an over-repeated trope. It has been shown that our brains are wired slightly differently, and men do parse spatial awareness solutions slightly faster than women do. However, that doesn't mean we actually come to the correct solution any more than women do. But time is a factor in our test, and right now, looks like the men are winning, but only just.
I think that's it. Jamie's gonna love this.
Number boy, what did they say?
The numbers are actually quite interesting. Out of a perfect score, the men scored in the 51st percentile. They averaged 51%. The women scored 45%, 6% less than the men.
Is that significant?
If it's at all significant, I'd say it's just by a hair. I think we can call this one that the men are better at packing, but literally by a nose.
Well, I think we might have actually found something more controversial than fuel efficiency.
You mean like us discovering that men are actually better drivers?
But they're definitely not better navigators.
Well, there weren't actually any clear winners to the contest, though.
But there were some distinct differences, and we are far from done testing here. There are an endless amount of cliches and stereotypes that we could get into.
Absolutely. So if you've got some gender difference myths you'd like us to test, send them on in.